I've always been a person who has got my finger in lots of different pies. I'm able to manage lots of different things at the same time, and just been like, I can't, I can't do more than one or two things at a time, and then muddling up my words. So it's really struggling to talk. I'd say the wrong word, or just it'd be on the tip of my tongue. I can't quite find it. I can't find what I'm trying to say. But the one I struggle with most is the hot flushes, and also rushing. So it comes back to that procrastination. So if I'm rushing to do something, because I like to leave things to the last minute, then I can feel that the hot flushes come, because I'm
Right.
trying to do too much. That kind of stress level, increasing my stress level with that rushing about, that's how I feel. So even just before coming on and doing this, I'm like, oh, let me put the kettle on. Let me just do that quickly. Let me just do that. I'm like, oh, because when I rush, I get hot, and then I get flustered, and then I get hotter. So just allow myself more time.
Hello and welcome to Menopause Was Black, the podcast that is committed to celebrating and centering the menopausal stories of Black people, primarily based in the UK. I am your host, Karen Arthur. I am a broadcaster, an artist. What else am I? A grandmother, a mother, a sister, a daughter, and I hope a loving friend. I have a new guest for you. And I'm hoping that you will enjoy the conversation that we have. But first of all, I want to do my weekly check-in and ask you how you are. How are you? I am recording this on World Menopause Awareness Day. There are lots of celebrations planned. I myself, I'm going along to an event called Equity in Menopause, hosted by Efficacy Eva, Dr. Yancy Rolston, and many other fantastic guests. But I'm also going to take some time to reflect on how far we've come. When I started Menopause Was Black, the podcast, 4 years ago today, 4 years ago, minus a week or so, we could never have predicted the immense interest and work and research and awareness that would happen between now and then. And I'm thrilled to be part of and on the vanguard of all the wonderful things that are happening. We're bringing into the world so that menopause becomes normalized, and so that we are the generation, as Diane Dunsbrick says, to make menopause matter. And while I mention Diane Dunsbrick, she founded Make Menopause Matter. If you go on to change.org in the UK and put in Make Menopause Matter, we are trying to get to 200 signatures so that we can discuss this campaign in Parliament. We've made massive strides with Carolyn Harris MP and Menopause Mandate, and many other people are doing amazing work. And I want to take this day to celebrate them and to celebrate ourselves for continuing to talk about it. So I go back to my question, how are you? Hand on heart. I hope that you're able to take some time for yourself. Obviously, you're listening to this after World Menopause Day, but we'll still be in World Menopause Awareness Month. So it's important. Anyway, enough of me. Listen to this next episode, episode 7, and I will see you on the other side. Bye. Hello, 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 and welcome to Menopause Was Black. We're in season 7, and this is episode 7. The numerologists of you might make something of that. I don't know what it is. But anyway, here we are with a brand new guest for you. this week. My name is Karen Arthur, and I am the host of Menopause Whilst Black, the podcast that is committed to sharing the menopausal stories of Black people in any stage of menopause. As I said, this is season 7, and I'm excited to bring you a brand new guest. Let me read her bio for you. So Michelle Hart is a solution-focused hypnotherapist and meditation teacher with over 20 years experience within social care and the voluntary sector. She witnessed firsthand the burnout and fatigue of the compassionate women around her, whose love and care for others did not always stretch to themselves. Oh, that's a lovely sentence. She has a passion for supporting midlife women to embrace this stage of their lives by getting curious about who they are now, what they want and need, so that they can bring more joy into their lives, with the understanding that they too are worthy of the compassion they show to others. Oh, that's so nice. Welcome, Michelle.
Bless you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's a beautiful bio. I'm going to nick it. No, I'm not. How are you today? How are you?
Do you
Big,
know,
and I know you could do the generic, I'm fine, but you don't have to here. We get deep here.
do you know, I am good. I'm good. I'm good. It was my daughter's birthday at the weekend. Well, last week, but she was away
Mm,
with her other half. But we had Sunday lunch with her in London, spent some time in the park. And, that just gives you a little pep during the week, doesn't
yes.
it? So, yeah, it's nice to see and just see her becoming a proper grown up. It's like,
How
oh,
old is she?
she's
How old is she?
27.
And what's her name?
27. Emma. So she's like a
Happy
real
belated
person now.
birthday.
It's like we
A
did
real
all right, didn't
person.
we?
Big woman.
Yeah.
Michelle, tell us about yourself. Who are you outside of your title?
That's a really interesting one, isn't it? It got me thinking, who am I? I'm an overthinker.
Mm.
I'm a procrastinator, but I'm also creative. That procrastination gives me time to think. So I say I'm a creative person. I feel things quite deeply, I would say. I feel for other
Mm.
people quite deeply. And I'm a searcher for joy. I've kind of got to that stage in my life now. It's like, do you know what? There's more out there. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop here. And just trying to be that person that rewrites the story, particularly for like my younger cousins coming up. So I'm really
Mm.
passionate about just trying to be that role model, the auntie, and
Mm.
just say, look,
Mm.
do you know what? You can make of it what you will. So yeah, I want to be that kind of that leader, that person people come to.
Lovely. I love that. And what is your heritage? Where are your parents from?
So both my parents are from St Vincent, and they came to the UK when they were quite young. So I think they were about sort of 11, 12, sort of 13ish. There, so they were like the younger ones of their siblings, so the last ones to come over, and
Mm.
settled in High Wycombe, where just everywhere I went, there was somebody from St Vincent round the
Mm.
corner, auntie, uncle, cousin, friends. So they are we were part of this really huge family. So we used to meet up
Mhm.
every Sunday with the aunts and the uncles. So it would be
Oh,
somebody else's house each Sunday, get together, hang out with my cousins. So yeah, really close knit. So it's really strange now to see us kind of moving away from that base and just seeing this
mm.
new generation settling in. Because like my mum's now gone back to St Vincent. She went back in
Okay.
November 2020. So we're now starting this new kind of transition. What does it look like now as being the elders? Now that the aunts and uncles are settling back in the West Indies.
Oh, wow. And is it somewhere that you'd like to go back? Were you born here?
I was born here. I've only been a couple of times. I went when I was
Okay.
9,
Okay.
and remember going and being like, "Oh my goodness, I didn't like it to start off with. Didn't understand it." We went for
Yeah.
6 weeks in the 6 week holiday. After about two
Mm.
weeks, loved it,
Oh,
loved it.
great.
But just that, I think that culture shock of, oh, everything was just so much slower, and just
Mm.
getting used to the vibes and the way that people move through their life was really,
Mm. Yeah.
really different.
Yeah.
But then I didn't go again until 2016.
Okay.
So almost 30 years later.
Mm,
And then we had the pandemic. And
of
because my
course.
mum's there now, she's been back every year since she's retired. So I'm like,
Mm.
there's no point me going over there. You keep coming here. So, but yeah,
So
we will
where are
go
you?
back again.
Okay. And where are you based? And how old are you?
So I'm based in St Albans, and I am 47 and just over a half now.
And that half is important, I will tell you.
Absolutely.
So now we've got the basics out of the way, Michelle. We've done that bit. I've done
Hmm.
everything except ask you your bank account details. Who taught you about menopause?
That's an interesting one. Nobody really. It's one of those kind of picking up little bits and pieces as you go. You hear the word and go, don't pay much attention to it. So it's kind of been in the last 5 to 6 years picking up more information, some through the work that I do,
Hmm.
because, the understanding we have now around how stress can impact how your menopausal symptoms and how we can reduce that stress levels, that can really help. So I've done a couple of courses, but yeah, it's been very piecemeal. A bit here,
Mm.
a TV program there, a radio show there, but nobody actually having those conversations.
Yeah. And you didn't have these conversations with your mother at all?
No, it's an interesting one because so my mum's quite young. She had me when she was 19. So
Okay.
by the time she was probably going through those early stages, I'd moved out of home. So
Right.
I wasn't really around then. I was with my daughter,
Mm.
bringing her up. So I wasn't really seeing very
Yeah.
much. So I think I kind of missed the majority of it. So it's
And
only
apologies.
now,
Yeah.
yeah, you sort of pick up little sort of conversations. So I mention things, and so an aunt will say, "Oh, actually, oh, you're having hot sweats." Oh, I never had any of that. So you have little conversations here and there, but no. So in terms of family wise, there's not much that I really sort of have had conversationally with them. Partly because they've
Mm.
moved back to a lot of them have moved back to the West Indies, so we're not seeing each
Mm.
other as much. But I just wasn't there. I was kind of starting my life with my daughter and not
Right.
seeing them as often to be able to have those conversations.
Mm. And it never, I suppose, when you're speaking on the phone or Zooming or however you communicate, these aren't necessarily the things you talk about anyway. You know,
No, no, they're not top of the conversation list, are they? Not unless
definitely.
something really, the symptoms are so bad, and then you might not necessarily know that actually it's menopausal related.
Yeah,
So you're just
exactly.
talking about a health condition.
And where are you on your menopause journey?
I don't really know because I had
Okay.
a partial hysterectomy about 9 years ago. So I
All
had
right.
really heavy periods up due to fibroids. And I just remember having a conversation with the consultant. He went, "You'll keep your ovaries so you won't have an early menopause." I went, "Okay,
Okay.
great, fantastic."
That was all he said.
That was all he said. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Didn't know why.
Mm.
So I was just happy I wasn't going to be having periods anymore. I was like, yay, no more periods. Not tracking the symptoms, wasn't really paying attention to the symptoms that I was still getting.
Mm.
So it wasn't until probably, I think I'm maybe 4 years in,
Mm.
but I don't really know. When the
Mm.
symptoms I've become more noticeable. But before then, I may have been having symptoms before, but I couldn't track it against periods.
Yeah.
So it's really tricky, and having that little information to be able to help you to go, oh, these are things you could be looking at if you've had partial
Yeah.
hysterectomy when it's more difficult to track. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really know where I am.
Mm. And tell us a little bit about that journey before you had your partial hysterectomy. What got you to the point where you were like, yeah, no, this is a surgery situation?
I was getting to having to sort of change my pads every 20 minutes. So I used to work in London, and it used to be a 20-minute walk to get to the train station. So change your pad before you leave, get to the train station, do it again. And I had a couple of occasions I'd get to King's Cross and
Mm,
I had to change my clothes. I had to go into Monsoon once, buy
mm.
an outfit, not very cheap,
Oh my
ra-
goodness, no.
ran myself into a tiny cubicle,
Mm.
absolutely distraught, trying to get your jeans off and trying to change into
Ugh.
something else because my periods were just so heavy. I tried the medication to reduce the flow, but it just wasn't
Mm.
working, and that was a long process as well. Just trying to have those conversations with the doctor and say, no, this isn't working. This
So
is impacting
had
my
you been
daily
having,
life.
sorry to cut you off.
No.
Had you been having heavy periods from the get-go? When did you start your periods?
Oh, so I think I started when I was about 10, so I was in primary school.
That's quite fairly early, I suppose.
But they were heavy, but nothing that was
Nothing like
impacting my
that.
life. That was probably leading up 4 or 5 years leading up to having the surgery. They started getting heavier, and then starting to try those different medications. So it was completely new. It wasn't
Right.
my normal sort of flow. So it was very
And did you
different.
discuss this with anybody but your doctor? Like, did any of your friends know? Did work know?
Um,
Did your
well,
family know? Were you
I worked
suffering
in social.
alone?
I worked in social care, so
Okay.
for the nature of doing that, having conversations with colleagues, I had conversations with colleagues. Yeah, I
Mm,
did talk to sort of family as well, and just
mm,
saying this is what I'm trying. But nobody, nobody knew really. They're just like,
no.
speak to your doctor. But the
Yeah.
doctor's just like, oh, it can't be that bad. It actually is that bad. Sitting in a meeting and then standing up and thinking, am I going to have to go and change my trousers now? Having to carry spare clothes around with me. And I was just so relieved when they
Yeah.
said you can have the operation. I was just like, yeah, take it out. It's serving no
Okay.
function for me at the moment.
Mm.
It's it was stopping me going out and doing things because just the worry about am I going to bleed through my trousers.
And the thing is, it takes such a long time to get a diagnosis,
Mm.
but also we become so used to changing our clothes, change.
Mm.
I say our generally because this is not my personal experience, but certainly I've spoken to other women who are saying the same thing that they spent years walking with, four or
Yeah.
five pads or getting used to walking with a change of clothes or that kind of thing. And also going back and forth to the doctor, and for the doctor to turn around and say, it can't be that bad. Like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh, have you tried? Oh, just up. We can up the dose. We can up the dose. We can up the dose. And
Yeah.
like, we can do that, but I still have
Yeah.
to live whilst we're
That's
trying to
right.
work this out.
That's right. So you talked about, let's come back into now. You talked about symptoms. So you said you're not sure where you are on your journey, but I suppose if you still have your ovaries, but you're not having your periods anymore. So it's difficult to know. But
Mm.
you're having symptoms, yes?
Yes. Yeah. So
What are your symptoms? Tell us about them.
the symptoms I had really itchy palms. I had really, really itchy
Okay.
palms for so long. And I remember
And
seeing a
you thought money
list.
was coming.
I
How
was waiting
you
for
is
that
now
money.
then?
you know, place the money in the hands. I'm waiting. I'm ready. I'm ready. Uh,
Oh,
and then I remember seeing a list of, of symptoms that you may not be aware of. Oh,
yeah.
okay, maybe it's that. So, oh, I thought maybe I've got Raynaud's disease or something.
Mm, mm,
So I had that. Then that kind of stopped. Brain fog. That's the one.
okay.
So really I've always been a person who has got my finger in lots of different pies. I'm able to manage lots of different things at the
Mm,
same time and just been like, I can't, I can't do more than one or two things at a time. I struggled
yeah.
to, I was the person that people would come to and I'd be like, yeah, sort that out. And I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm sorting that. And I really struggled with that. And then muddling up my words. So it's really
Mm,
struggling to talk. I'd be like, I'd say the wrong word or just it'd be on the tip of my tongue. I can't
mm,
quite find it. I can't find what I'm trying to say. But the one I struggle with most is the hot flushes. But they're not really hot flushes. They're just sometimes it's that creeping sensation at the back of the neck. Just like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just so hot. Sometimes I
Mm.
walked in the road and I'll look like I've been doing an ultra marathon in the desert. My face is just absolutely dripping with sweat.
Wow.
Sometimes it's that transition between hot and cold. You walking into a cooler environment, and then all of a sudden, like, I don't know, the thermometer goes woof,
Yeah.
and then I'm in a meeting. I'm like, well, can you just give me 5 minutes? I need to just go and cool down before I can do anything. So even now, if I'm with my husband, sometimes we walk into town. It's 20 minutes. Sometimes it's fine. Sometimes
Mm.
we'll get to a cafe or something. It's like, oh, do you want to should we wait outside for a minute so you can just cool down before we go in? Having to carry like a cloth to mop my brow. That's
Mm.
the one that
Mm.
I struggle with the most, because
What I
it's
do love
just,
though is that your family recognizes this, and they are, you've obviously been having these conversations with them. They know what's going on. I'm
yeah.
glad that you have that kind of support as well. How have your work colleagues supported you? Do you have um, support at work?
Well, it's an interesting one when you work for yourself.
Yeah, of
So
course. Of
it's lots of
course.
sort of online conversations, but meeting up with
Mm,
people and networking. So it definitely comes up quite in conversation, and we talk about it and we try and share tips, but we're all at that same point of not really knowing
yeah,
enough. So it's more
yeah,
that kind of reassuring that, oh, somebody else is feeling the same too. They've tried this. They love the fact that I
yeah.
carry around 6 fans with me. So if we go somewhere, I'm like, you can borrow mine, you can borrow that one, you can borrow that one. Like, how many have you got? I've got plenty. One for each of us. So
Who
yeah,
do you feel supported by? Who Yeah, who have supported you in your journey, and who is supporting you now that you feel most works the most, if that makes sense? Or I suppose it depends on where you are.
it's a mixture. It's a mixture. So it's family,
Mm.
definitely, because being able to have conversations. So I've got cousins who are similar age, having conversations when we meet up, and again that running down the list of, oh, I've got that, I've got that, I've got that. I mean,
Yeah.
oh, I've not had that symptom. Oh, that's interesting. So being able to have those conversations and joke with each other. But also, yeah, I think the nature of what I do as well, sort of working in that sort of therapeutic space, that social care space, you're working with people who are quite caring anyway. So you're able to
Mm.
be open, and they're open and able to have conversations, even if they're not sure. They're like, oh, I found a book that might be interesting for you. So actually, yeah, there are people around me that I feel able to talk to. And I hope that, I'm that person for them too.
And that's so important, isn't it? Even if, doctors aren't listening to you, or even if you're not sure what's going on, I suppose keeping those open avenues to be able
Yeah,
to, speak if you want to, talk about what you want to, and that kind of Me Too moment as
yeah,
well is really important, because even though saying what is going on is not necessarily going to change what's going on, it is going to make you feel a little bit better and not so alone as
yeah,
well. Do you know what I mean? You talk
definitely.
about the nature of what I do. Tell us a little bit about what you do. Do. I said do. I'm so sorry. I'm a child.
I'll try not to laugh now. Never
Oh
not
my
funny.
God.
So it's a bit of a long-winded title, solution focused
Go for it.
hypnotherapist. So it's therapy using hypnosis. So it's a
Mhm.
talking therapy with a relaxation at the end. And it's about helping people to find their own solutions, because we all have the solutions within us, but just sometimes we just need that helping hand. So it's a brief therapy. So you don't do it for like a year, 2 years. It's normally sort of 3 to 4 months working together. So
So
you're
you
going
work
to.
online, you work in person. Talk me through how does that happen?
So you can do both. So
Okay.
COVID showed us that you can do both. It works
Hmm.
just as well. So somebody wants to work with me, they come, they have a free consultation and share with me what the challenges are that they're facing at the moment. And then I talk to them about what hypnotherapy is. And a huge part of what it is around understanding your brain and why you think, feel, and behave the way you do. So that's part of the consultation,
Mm.
understanding why you're behaving like that, why your sleep might be disrupted, and things that you can do. And then
Okay.
every session, I help people to really to practice reflection and to move beyond our default negative um, way of thinking. So getting
Yeah.
into that, reflecting on what's been good,
Mm.
visualization, and help them to start creating that picture of what their life could look like. And then by finishing the session with that relaxation, it's a chance for them to do in the background all the work that their brain needs to do to help them find the solution. So
Mm.
I really love it because it's one of those therapies that you come out feeling lighter. And if
Yeah.
I watch people online, sometimes, they'll be in bed, they'll be lying in their
Mm.
bed, they've got their blanket on, they put their mobile phone down, and I just look at the ceiling
Yeah.
whilst I'm doing
Yeah.
relaxation. And then
Mm.
I will say to them, you can just stay there now. You don't have to get in the car, then have to do the commute home. You can
That's
stay in
great.
that relaxed state and just wave an arm so I know you're alive, and then I will I'll leave you alone. But just yeah, so it's a it's a therapy to help people find what they're looking for, just unlock it.
And what kind of clients come to you? Like, why would people? Do you get mostly women, for example? Do you get mostly menopausal women, or is it all sorts? All sorts.
It was all sorts, but I found lately that it has been kind of women like me, really, sort of
Mm.
middle-aged women who they might be feeling anxious, they might be feeling depressed, but a lot of the women are very much at that. I know something has to change, but I don't
Right.
quite know how to access it. They're
Yeah.
givers, they're people, they're carers. So I've worked a bit with people that were in social care. So they're
Mm.
always caring for other people. And they're like, I know that I need to do something for myself, but I don't know how to get
Mm.
there. So it's people who want to make that change, and it's starting to sort of wear them down a little bit. It's like,
Yeah.
how do I move through, and helping them to find their joy. It's like,
Yeah.
you deserve the joy too. What does it look like for me now? It's changed
Yeah.
from when I was 15, but it doesn't mean I can't still go out and find it and have fun and do the things. There's still hopefully a lot of life left.
Yeah. And often people need guidance and almost permission
Mm,
to turn the gaze on themselves, to look after themselves.
yeah,
Women's
absolutely.
we spend so much time caring for others, and being praised for giving to
Yeah.
others that it's and often we know, like you said, we know that something needs to change, or we might
Hmm.
even know what we need to do, but it's really hard to do it. So it's
Yeah.
good to have someone on that journey with us. To be honest, you had me at relaxation at the end. You should have led with that. I
Yes.
was
I
like,
mean, what a
oh,
way to
okay.
finish the session. I mean, the conversations I have with people that, I thought I'd be crying. I was like, you might
Yeah,
find it, but you finish that session with that
yeah,
relaxation. You take
yeah,
that feeling with you and just,
yeah,
let your brain do the work in the background. You don't need to be privy to it. Let it do it on its own. You
yeah.
just
That's great.
chill.
So we talked about your symptoms. You talked about your hot flashes, your brain fog, your itchy palms. How are you caring for your menopause now? Like, what works for you, and what have you tried that definitely did not work for you?
Um, it's been a real hit and miss. Try this, try
Yeah.
that. Um, so I try and meditate. So I get up quite early in the mornings. So having that quiet time in the morning, it's especially nice in the summer where you can go sit outside for a bit, open the doors, have a cup of tea on my own, and just
Mm,
ease myself into day. That definitely helps you. Finding those quiet moments is much more important now than it used to be. The 5 minute
mm,
here, the 10 minute there. So trying to fit those in has been really important. And just doing sort of mindful activities. I've really got into jigsawing, which I never thought I would do.
Ew.
Yeah, I love a
When you
jigsaw.
say jigsawing, you don't mean the thing that saws things up. You
Oh
mean actual
no,
jig.
no, actually do doing a jigsaw. I go and buy
No
my
power
thousand
tools
piece.
involved here.
Oh, nobody wants me to be doing that. No, not after. But I've really got into doing that and just
Okay.
spending time doing jigsaws. Really getting into. I say getting into gardening. I like flowers around me. That,
I
the
like
husband's
flowers
really doing
around
that.
me. I just don't like getting my hands dirty. I really, really want to be the person who grows vegetables.
Yeah.
I'm getting there, but
I'm a bit funny about dirt. I like clean dirt. The dirt comes from the garden centre in the bag. I can touch it, but I can't touch it if it comes straight out of the soil
what
in
are
the
we
garden.
like? Honestly, I want to be more. I want to be that self-sufficient person. I have good friends, Tanisha and Danny, who run Earth to Earth Organics and Earth's Farm, and they've just managed to secure their own farm in Wales, and
Oh
they
wow!
grow all sorts. Hopefully, I'm going to visit them soon, and I want them to show me how to be more.
Wow!
What's the word? Earthy? No,
Yeah,
plant. Green. I want green fingers, guys.
yeah. Well, we started to grow a few vegetables. We had strawberries and courgettes,
Okay.
and there's something about just like going out, and going, oh, look how much it's grown! Look how much it's grown!
Yes.
And just eating your own strawberries. So yeah, just starting
Yeah,
to
that's
get
got to be so
oh,
feel so fulfilling. That's what I want to do. I don't have a garden, but I have a courtyard, and I would have to like get troughs, if
oh
that's a
yeah,
good word, to put the things
yeah,
in. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. You heard it here first.
amazing.
Okay, so meditation, mindful. You sound like a really calm human. Anything else that has helped you or has not helped you?
I think it's talking to other people. I think that's been the key thing. Is actually it's so good having these conversations opened up now. So you're
Mm.
seeing more information and people are talking about it more. So just being able to share and know that,
Yeah.
oh gosh, as you say, you're not feeling lonely and isolated. It's not just me having a moment making a big deal about nothing.
Mm.
Actually, these things are happening to me.
Mhm.
So being able to have those
Yeah.
conversations, and it just, reduces that stress to think, okay, I can get through this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Do you have a routine?
Some days no.
Because at the beginning you said you were a procrastinator. So
Yes.
I'm interested in whether I mean, you're aware of that. How do you work through it? Because I'm also a procrastinator, and I know a lot of creatives who are, and I know for me sometimes it's based on fear.
Mm,
I can find so many things to do before I actually sit down and do some work. But
yeah.
I'm wondering, yeah, what's your routine, and what
I,
happens when you fall off it?
well, when I fall off it, that is for me, it's so many ideas in my head. So many
Yeah,
ideas. Shiny thing. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's like, oh. And then it's like, oh, it's 4 o'clock.
yeah,
Haven't done anything as yet. So for me, it's as much as I fight against the planning and having a schedule and following a calendar. Actually, it's realizing actually that I probably do need to do that. I need to
mm,
use that more. So I try to have
mm,
that, put things in the calendar, and I worked with somebody who helped me to create a little sort of online notice board. So when the ideas pop in my head, I just put them down, write it down,
that's a great idea.
and it has the today, tomorrow, 2 weeks in the future. Because I
Yeah,
was worried, but what if I don't do it at any time? That's in the future. Put it on in the future board. It's still there, and some
yeah,
things are still on there from however many years ago. But just to get it out of your head.
I
Otherwise,
love
I'm
that.
just going,
Not weeks, years.
yeah, yeah. Because even that tiny little kernel or something that I'm probably
Yeah,
not that interested in, but
I love that.
if I don't look at it and do something with it, it just grows and grows and grows. So it's like, no, just
Mm,
put it somewhere. Put it
yeah.
somewhere.
And that can help prevent overwhelm as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
So in terms of we talked about your symptoms and how you help yourself. Is there anything that you changed with your diet or your exercise, or what do you do now that you didn't necessarily do in your 20s?
One thing I started taking medication for it. So
Okay, tell us
not
more.
HRT.
Mm,
After having these conversations with doctors, going backwards and forwards, and they're just like, oh well, just track it. And I can't track it because I don't have periods.
Yeah.
Having a blood test that comes back, all looks normal. I finally spoke to a GP, and I was just saying these hot flushes are really stopping me going out and doing anything, and
Yeah.
they prescribed me clonidine, and
Okay.
it just helps to reduce the symptoms of those hot flushes. So, and you
Okay.
can increase the dose and you can lower the dose depending. So you've got that autonomy over it to look after you. And it's like, oh, actually, I know I'm feeling like this is quite a tricky moment. So maybe for a couple of days, I'm going to increase it to this level and then bring it back down. And that's really made a difference. It means that my husband likes to walk, so he gets me out walking more. So walking definitely, going out and doing exercise a bit. But but as much as I grumble, getting out and being outside definitely makes a big difference. And going out for a walk and just taking more time for myself.
Yeah.
So trying to build more of that into my day. So that's worked. I think alcohol may be playing a part in my hot flushes. I really don't
Do you
want it to.
think? Do you think it's one of those? You know what it is? It's the realization. I remember years ago, oh, we're talking 9, 10 years, a decade ago now, when I made the connection between alcohol and my hot flushes and how upset I was. I was like, no, 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 I'm not ready. I'm not ready to give up. At the time, I was really into gin and tonic, homemade gin and tonics. I've moved off from then since. But yeah, it's funny when you realise that there are things that you love that absolutely do you no favours, and wine, alcohol is one for me. So, and is there? Does that
I'm
mean that you've
starting
cut
to get
down?
a little kind of There's definitely not that I think I could probably do a glass, 2 glasses of wine if I try and do more than that, or I need more of a break in between. So
Yeah,
because then it's like, oh, the next day, oh,
yeah,
why am I so
yeah.
hot today? Oh, and also rushing. So it comes back to that procrastination. So if I'm rushing to do something because I like to leave things to the last minute, then I can feel that the hot flushes come because I'm
Right.
trying to do too much. That kind of stress level, increasing my
Mm,
stress level with that rushing about,
mm.
that's how I feel. So even just before coming on and doing this, I'm like, oh, let me put the kettle on. Let me just do that quickly. Let me just do that. I'm like, oh, oh. If I'd taken my time,
Yeah.
then I wouldn't have, I might have got a little bit hot. So just realizing actually, yeah, again, about scheduling and just planning things in more. Because when I rush, I get hot and then I get flustered and then I get hotter. So just allow myself more time
Yeah.
to
And
do.
that's advice for anybody who's listening, isn't it? Is that I know that if I don't plan, and this often happens, by the way, if I don't plan and I get flustered, that can cause anxiety, it can cause overwhelm. And if I just decided to do something even 10 minutes before, you
Yeah,
know, write it down,
yeah,
that can often help, which means that I'm less likely to have a physical symptom or, I'm not going to say a panic attack because I don't have panic attacks anymore, but certainly get really quite anxious
yeah.
and irritable and that kind of thing. Thank God I live alone. But there you go. Have
But absolutely. But it's so true though, so true. It's just allowing yourself that time, just having that compassion for yourself. Be like,
mm,
I don't need to rush. I've got time.
mm,
Why am I doing this to myself?
mm.
And just, yeah, being able to ease myself into things.
And I
Just
find
allow myself.
myself calmer these days when it comes to like transport, but I don't drive. I drive. I don't have a car, is what I mean. And that whole kind of I never run for trains, like it's not a thing because there'll be another one. Especially not tubes because that's actually dangerous to run for tubes. They're literally every 3 minutes. Calm down. Um, but that whole this is going to happen anyway.
Yeah,
So let me just deal with it. It means that things are calmer. It
yeah,
also means that I don't get myself in as many flusters as I used to in the past.
yeah.
And I think that's definitely come with menopause and come with aging. And also not doing what I used to do. I used to teach, and I'm definitely not doing that anymore. So So yeah, that's yes, that's very good advice. How do you celebrate yourself?
How do I celebrate myself? I love a kitchen dance, a kitchen disco.
Love
Just
it.
one of those I think, oh, that's gone really well. Just just makes me just kind of feel good. So yeah, that's an occasion to be able to go out and dance, to go out and listen to music. Those
Mm,
things really make me just yeah. It's interesting how that's changed and not changed from when I was a teenager. Always loved music, always loved
okay.
dancing, but now it it is that kind of what am I looking forward to? What helps me get through doing something quite hard? I'm going to do
Mm,
something around music, whether it's just blasting some music at home, going for a
yeah.
walk and popping on my headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, just really simple things. Those really simple things just help to celebrate those moments. Whereas it used to be go out, still enjoy going out for dinner and
Mm.
doing things like going to the spa, but actually it's those small little things. Like, just want to put on my favourite tune and have a boogie.
And it's free too.
Absolutely,
And
yeah. Because
we forget how important and how nourishing moving our body can be, especially spontaneously, I suppose. I always forget. I dance in my background, and yeah, I forget that just having a 3.5 minute or however long records are
yeah,
now. Records, what are they? Tunes, tracks are now, and getting a little bit of a sweat on and getting your heart rate going actually
yeah,
does wonders for your mind and body. So,
absolutely,
I'm
absolutely.
glad
And
that that's something
yeah,
that
and
you
just
lead.
making a note of those little things, the small wins. Just write it
Yeah.
down. Keep the
Mm,
receipts. It's so hard,
mm,
you get into that kind of has to be something really big before I can celebrate it. So I actually no. I went
yeah.
for a walk today. That's a win. I didn't
Yeah.
want to.
I
I went
I had
out.
a shower.
Yeah,
I cleaned myself.
absolutely. Yeah, just noticing that the small stuff, just stop beating yourself up. And that's the thing I'm really enjoying about this kind of time of life now. It's like, yeah, I don't care about all that big stuff as much.
Yeah.
This is important to me, so it's important.
Yeah. What would 47-year-old Michelle tell 27-year-old Michelle about this time of life now?
It's
And
interesting.
yes,
So
that was a curveball.
that's all right. It's all right because it's interesting because it's very similar to the age some of my younger cousins are. So
Okay.
I try to be mindful about how I portray being
Mm,
47
yeah.
because
Mm,
you can go into that whole kind of listing of hot sweats, brain fog, blah, 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 blah. It's nice to be able to get that off your chest, but also just
yeah.
be mindful about the conversations that people are saying. I would say to her, do you know what? It's bloody fantastic. Don't give a monkey's what anybody else says. I'm going to wear what I want. I'm going to do my hair what I want. Sometimes I'm going to go out in these trousers that people think, what on earth? Don't care. That feeling of freedom
Mm,
is just, it's like in your teenage years. It's like, the middle aged teenage years, that finding myself. It's like you
mm,
never stop finding yourself and finding the joy.
mm.
But yeah, the freedom from other people's thoughts and
Yes.
comments. And I'm just starting to kind of settle into it and thinking, who gives a monkeys what you say, mate? Couldn't
Yeah.
care. And I've had conversations with some of my cousins going, yeah, it's great. I just don't care what people think. I'm going to wear this, I'm going to
Mm,
do that. And it's really starting to settle into that. It started off with saying it, but now I'm starting,
mm.
really starting to believe, yeah,
Feel it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And those affirmations are important, aren't they? That whole
absolutely.
kind of our self-talk. We forget that we can often talk about ourselves to ourselves so harshly.
Yeah,
And just changing that talk can change how you feel about how you show up in the world,
yeah,
how you feel about yourself and how you feel about what other people think about you, which is not caring. And it's wonderful that you've got them. I mean, mine came later, but certainly and it doesn't mean that you don't care.
no,
It means that it doesn't affect how you dress, how
yeah.
you
It's not
speak.
shaping my
You
decisions
know,
like it used to be.
yeah,
Well, I'm not going to do
yeah,
that because they might say something. And there's that
Mm.
freedom of just, there's so much, just knowing there's so much more life left. At 27, it was like, nearly 50 now, it's going to be just sitting and,
Mm.
being stuck between elderly parents and teenagers. You keep hearing those conversations about, oh, you've got the middle agers stuck in the middle. And yes, there are challenges with being this age, and you might be balancing that, but it doesn't mean there isn't more beyond that. There is more.
Yes,
And I think just
exactly.
that opening my eyes, just seeing other people doing so much in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and beyond, I'm
Yeah,
thinking, oh my God, yeah, life is still lifing. Why are people stopping? Don't need to stop. It's just
that's
different.
great. And anybody listening who is, not quite at the menopause or perimenopause stage, I hope that this gives you some kind of hope to what's coming, because menopause is just one part
Mm.
of hopefully a very, very long life that you have to live and seek joy and be intentional about really grabbing it by the short and curlies, I want to say. But yeah,
Yeah.
that. You talked about dancing. Which tune instantly makes you want to dance?
It's Tiffany. I think we're alone now.
It.
It is.
Oh
It
my
is.
goodness.
I love that song. It just reminds me of school discos. Girls all
Okay.
standing in a circle doing that little, we used to shuffle into the middle and shuffle back. And shuffle into the middle and shuffle back. And every time that song comes on, it just makes me smile. When I had my 40th birthday party, I asked
Huh.
the DJ to play it, and my whole family just went, "Oh, for goodness sake!" I love this song. I don't care. I love it. It's
Well, it's going on to the Menopause Whilst Black Season 7 Spotify playlist.
amazing.
It might skew my algorithm, but we're all good.
I know.
Final question, my dear. Final question.
Mhm.
What's the one piece of advice you would give to any woman listening to us right now?
Talk, talk to somebody. Don't
Mm,
hold it in alone. Talk to someone, because when we share it, we halve the load,
mm,
and then you can start to look at where you go next. Don't let it just reside in your head, because when it resides in your head, it just gets bigger and bigger and feels impossible.
mm. Thank you. So talk. Michelle's telling everybody to talk. If people want to get in touch with you, or how can they contact you?
The best place is on Instagram, so at Hart Hypnotherapy, and then you can DM me, and we can go from there.
Fabulous. Michelle, thank you so much for giving me your precious time and for chatting a little bit about yourself. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michelle's optimism and energy is a real tonic. And I love the way that she knows herself. She knows what makes herself tick. She knows what is good for her. And she knows when to step away and let go. And this is my biggest problem, I will say. I was talking to a friend the other day, Dara, who runs a dance class here where I live in East Sussex. Every Monday night, if you're listening to this in Hastings, come along. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, we were talking about how good we are at giving other people advice and then not taking it. I guarantee that there are many people listening to this who are an ear to someone, a shoulder to cry on, who is used to giving everybody advice. And then you turn around and you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to bed early enough. Or, oh, I didn't have any protein with my meal last night, which was me, by the way. Um, my current battle is recognizing that I have a lot on, and similar to Michelle, forgetting to plan, because if I don't plan, I personally become overwhelmed and I become anxious and I'm no good to anybody. So this is what I am trying to do today. And I hope to emulate Michelle's advice. Um, and I also want to give myself grace. I am human. And this goes for you too. You are human. and you are allowed to do things at your own pace. You know, I started a 21-day challenge, and my 21-day challenge for me was to get up and get out and go for a walk, a 5K walk. For some, that's a no-brainer. I am not able to run at the moment. I'm nursing an injury, but I do want to make sure I'm walking. And what I found with these challenges, or when we're trying to kickstart ourselves, is that because we're human, we fall off. You know, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you don't want to get out of bed straight away. Sometimes you don't have time to go for a walk. And when that happens, I just start again. I just refresh. So I'm asking you to also cut yourself some slack, to take your own advice, to take my advice, to listen to what your body needs at that time. This is what menopause awareness is about. Because when you listen to yourself, you will truly know that when you go to a doctor and they might say something that goes against what you think, or you talk to a friend and the friend is advising you to take a medication or try something that you know wouldn't work for you. Yes, try things. I'm all for trying things. But if that's the case, remember that you know yourself best. So however you're spending World Menopause Awareness Month, even if it's simply talking to anybody who'll listen, making sure your workplace is up to date with their various policies, talking to people at the bus stop, having a chat with your mother, you know, if you're lucky enough to have her still around, having a chat with your children if you have children, people around you. That's what Menopause Awareness Day, Menopause Awareness Month, and the future and beyond is about. I am really, really getting excited about travelling to Barbados for the Joy Retreat Barbados next year. The nights are drawing in. The clocks are going to go back in a couple of weeks, or maybe next week. It's getting colder. It's getting darker. And this is the time where my thoughts turn to the place where I feel most at home, and that is Barbados, where my parents and my grandparents were born, and so on. I want to tell you just a little bit about the Joy Retreat Barbados. It is a safe space for 10 Black women in any stage of menopause to join me with my facilitators, Jasmine and Louise and Necker, where we will truly find space to relax, rest, recalibrate, restore ourselves, and prepare ourselves to return to whatever life has to offer with a renewed sense of not just determination, but also calm. So this is 7 nights of luxury accommodation on the Barbados East Coast. You can have a single room with a queen bed, or a shared cottage occupancy where you'd have your own room but you would share with another person. It also includes airport transfers, 3 freshly prepared meals, breakfast, lunch and dinner, nutritious meals, and the odd treat as well, housekeeping, free Wi-Fi, activities where we do things together, we eat together, we commune together, we go for walks together, and we give ourselves the opportunity to get to know one another as well. We have a daily yoga practice. There are workshops including craniosacral massage, a sensual workshop, a workshop that involves holding space around journaling, around meditation, about really restoring yourself. You will also get a complimentary massage from our wonderful Necker. We have access to a fantastic, beautiful swimming pool. And also I also love to curate the welcome gifts. That's my favourite. One of my favourite bits actually is deciding what to gift you that will really help you with your stay. If this sounds like you, if you are a black woman in any stage of menopause and you love to join us, you can pop to my website, menopausewhilstblack.com. The Joy Retreat information is all on there. There is also a 3-month payment plan, which ends at the end of October, if this is something that you might want to take advantage of. But I'm excited. There are 10 spaces, 8 remain. Is one of them yours? Listen, have the most beautiful day, evening, week, wherever you're listening to this. If your emotions are all over the place, or if you're not feeling as chipper as you wanted to, then I hope that you find solace soon. I hope you're able to find a glimmer of joy in your day. I hope you're able to laugh, and I hope you get a hug, a good, nourishing hug too. Those friends who give good hugs, I have quite a few of them. Deanna springs to mind. Yeah, get a good hug in. They're great. Drink your water. Put your SPF on still. And get yourself out into some daylight, because those daylight hours are becoming few and far between. So let's make the most of them and wrap up warm. Happy World Menopause Awareness Month. Happy World Menopause Awareness Day for me. I hope you had a good one too. And I will speak with you soon. I've been Karen Arthur. I'm still Karen Arthur. I wanted to say that. All right. Take care. Bye.